All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops at Great Millstone. I'm your brother, Rabbi Knapp, coming out with a lesson, Lord's will. This is edifying to the Lord's elect. I found this on The Guardian. It says Mexico faces uphill battle to appease Kingpin duck after cartel bosses killing Oscar Lopez in Mexico City. Who the hell is Oscar Lopez? I thought his name was something else. El Menchez or some shit like that. Oscar Lopez is news. Who's Oscar Lopez? I don't know. Anyways, that's probably who wrote this thing. Excuse me. Duck tells Mexico to step up effort to combat cartels even after military operation kills drug lord known as El Mencho. Right. So who the hell is Duck? So in order to appease the Duck, you're willing to go into civil war, and that's why Jeremiah 51. You had all this time. Mexico been here for a long time. You could have did what you needed to do to eradicate these people out of there. You got a whole female president over there. She didn't do it now, but she will listen to the so-called white man to bring destruction. And that's what you get. That's what you get for listening to him. Jeremiah 51:1. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will rise up against Babylon, which is America, and against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me, a destroying wind. That's thermonuclear destruction to America because of this type of shit that they do. So they're going to be destroyed. Jeremiah 51:2, and I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. So the day of trouble, going into Jacob's trouble. These Babylon fanners, these are other nuclear capable countries who are going to help bomb this place with Russia. Okay, they're going to fan her, meaning they're going to increase the fire. When Russia initially bombs this place, these other nuclear powers are going to bomb it with them. Jeremiah 51:3, against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth up himself up in his brigandine, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. So the archer bending his bow is talking about these thermonuclear capable countries. Against him that lifteth up himself in his brigandine, going into his armor. That's Esau. He thinks because of his nuclear capability, he thinks that he'll be shielded from the destruction of Yahweh Ba'ashem El Shai. He think he'll be shielded from these missiles that are coming from all over the place, especially his allies, the European nations. Jeremiah 51:4, thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, which is Babylon, and they that are thrust through in her streets. So a lot of people are going to die. Jeremiah 51:5, for Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God, of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. And that's why we over here in America today, because our land was filled with sin. We broke the law, statutes, and commandments. But like he said here, for Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah. This is talking about the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Okay, they haven't been fully forsaken by the Lord, even though it might seem, because the heathen got all these damn temples all over the damn place, worshiping the false god, thinking that that's the Lord. That's not the Lord. Those temples are they're pretty much altars to a false god, to a Baal. Okay, I was talking to somebody. He said he was going to school to be a preacher and all of these things, and he said he started the school sets you up. He was telling me his curriculum sets him up to teach him how to start a church, and he said his goal is to start 16 churches. All right, and he already got like 5 or 6 already started. So now he's that's pretty proficient, man. And he's like, it might take me 12 years to start 16 churches, but he's like, every church that we have about 150 followers. I'm just thinking like, damn, all demons. All demons. You know, you see, so Esau can, that's a lot, man. And he's doing that in Maine. You know, so these people they're gathering, and these are the people that these people are demons, man. All right, they don't know the Lord. Just because you're in the temple tells you in the book of Acts. Let me grab this real quick. Let's open up another tab. Acts chapter 7. And Acts 7. And I'll start at 48. Howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as saith the prophet. So the Lord's not dealing with these temples that these niggas are setting up. But in their mind, they think, you know, I think they actually think that this is a true God, but this is because they're heathen. The heathen don't know any better. It's up to you to know the difference. Okay? Acts 7 verse 49. Heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool. What house will ye build me? You think these 16 houses this nigga's building is for the Lord? Get the hell out of here, saith the Lord. Or what is the place of my rest? You think my place is here in Babylon, in Maine? The hell out of here. These people don't know shit. Have not my hands made all these things? I made everything here. Now you gonna grab some damn immigrants to come make you a temple and say that's my house? Ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, ye do always resist the Holy Spirit, as your fathers did, so do ye. Now this is talking about the Israelites. You know, you read Acts 7 and you realize Stephen got put to death for reminding you Israelites who you were, who you are. This is like you asking for it, teaching the word. But the Lord is going to defend, he's going to feed, he's going to give drink to his servants, the prophets, in these last days. And y'all are going to perish this time. That's pretty much it on that. I want to finish this. As a matter of fact, am I done here? No. Jeremiah 51 and 5. For Israel, no, Jeremiah 51 and 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul, be not cut off in her iniquity. So Babylon's America. Flee out of here spiritually. Just like it tells you in Micah 2 and 10. And deliver every man his soul. Your soul is your mind. Okay? You don't want to have your mind in this place. This place is going to get you destroyed if you're occupied in the world. Be not cut off in her iniquity. Babylon's going to be destroyed, and we don't want to be cut off for her iniquity. Iniquity is sin. Okay, so we're repenting. We're not following the ways of these damn stupid-ass heathen anymore. Let them get put to death, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. Okay, so a vengeance, let's look this up. Let's look this up. Punishment inflicted or retribution exacted for an injury or wrong. So what Esau did to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, he has a reward for that from the Lord, which is vengeance, which is indignation, which is thermonuclear missiles and destruction, which is a failed society, which is death, which is nothing. He's getting everything taken away from him. So prepare your mind for that. He will render unto her a recompense. Her is talking about America, Babylon the Great. When you recompense somebody, you pay them back for their weight. You paying them. And this is the great payback, as James Brown used to say, where Esau gets his ass kicked for being the damn devil in the earth. Jeremiah 51 and 7, Babylon, which is America, have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Mexico's mad. If I was in Mexico today, I'd be pissed the hell off that my president was listening to a foreign president on what you need to do with the people in your land. What the fuck are we voting for you for? What the fuck are you here for? You need to go. Clearly. We should have just voted for him. Jeremiah 51:8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. Babylon can't be healed. It's going to be destroyed. Jeremiah 51:9. We would have healed Babylon, which is America. They would have healed it, but she is not healed. She's still not healed. It's 2026. She's still going into debt. She's going into wars. She's starting shit on your southern border. She's starting shit on your northern border. She can't be healed. Forsake her, okay? We're forsaking her. Okay, I don't care if she won the hockey Olympics, the women's team and the male team, they won the Olympics. I don't care about Kash Patel and him acting like a damn idiot in the locker room. All right, he's happy that they won. We're forsaken in this place. Okay, you might be high on stupid shit like that. Who cares? And let us go, everyone, into his own country. And that's what a lot of people are doing. So this is being fulfilled. You got what you call the passport bros. You know, people, oh, actually, no, excuse me. Let us go, everyone, to his own country is talking about people like reverse immigration. Okay? People are thinking they come here, they see that this is oppressive. All I do is work. I'm nothing like I was when I was in my own land. It was a lot simpler than, yes, I was poor, but the people treated me a lot better, and you know, I had all the basic necessities and I was content. But then you come here, you make way more money and you never have enough. So they're getting the fuck up out of here. They're gonna make their money here and then they leave. You can't even buy anything over here anymore. You can't buy any property anymore. That's all that American dream bullshit. That's done. Okay, you can't buy a house. You barely can even afford to go to school. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. The Lord have brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our God. And that's where we're at right now. Okay. So Mexico faces an uphill battle to appease Kingpin Duck after cartel bosses killing. So he had a part in that. Okay, he had a part in that. As a matter of fact, where did I have? So he was there. He was not there. He was pretty much. He had a part in why that is even started. And I had an article, I can't find it right now, but it basically said that I can't even think of it. Let's read a little bit of this. I think this might be the article. It says, with schools still closed, flights canceled, and the charred carcasses of buses smoldering on streets across the country, Mexico was still reeling from the cartel backlash prompted by the killing of the cartel kingpin, El Macho. Defense Minister Ricardo was moved almost to tears on Monday as he offered his condolences to the families of soldiers felled in the operation to kill the country's most wanted drug lord. Mexican military personnel, he said, fulfilled their mission. But Donald Duck had a very different message to offer as Mexican officials confirmed that 25 members of the National Guard were killed in the operation. Duck posted on social media that Mexico must set up their effort on cartels and drugs. They must do it. See? And that's what you get. And you know what? These cartels, all that shit is going to, there's reports that I'm saying they're going to spill into America because they're military. You pretty much are going against the military. That's an army. The cartel is not just some low-level drug dealers. No, it's an organized military. Okay? And they don't give a fuck. All right, so they can cause all types of damage. It's like having ISIS at your border. In some cases, I think they're worse than ISIS. I don't think ISIS wish they were the cartel. All right. because these people got way more money, and they're closer to getting ties and money in America. $1 billion industry. ISIS wasn't nearly as rich. I'm just going off. I don't know the statistics. I'm just saying from what I recognize. They were mostly motivated by. They're more westernized, like a westernized or terrorist organization who has ties to getting a lot of money all through America, Babylon. Unlike ISIS. ISIS had an ideology that people were following and all of that, but these dudes, who knows? And then they coming out and they're more equipped than the military. They put 25 National Guard members to death. Now the National Guard, you think, all right, well, this is a voluntary type of thing. That's not the mindset you want to have when you go into war. That's why they're gonna whip your ass by the time the real people come out to go to war with them, people who are actually in the mindset to go to war, willing to die for their country. Those are the type of people you don't want to go to war with. Okay, the cartels are already like that, but you join the military to try to put food on the table and that type of bullshit, that gets you killed because you're not ready to go to war. Okay, those men are ready to go to war already. Some of them are ex-military. They already been they know your military training. They're better than you. They're more equipped than you. And they don't like your government at all because they actually probably know more than you too. They're smarter than you. You don't know what type of widespread corruption. You might look at they sell drugs and all that. Well, everyone sells drugs. Every government sells drugs. And then you work to go put them to death for somebody that you probably could have handled it a lot better. Now you're taking information, you got to move on this, and you're already corrupted. That just shows your government's corrupt. When a foreign government is corrupted, that's what's happening over here in America. America's being influenced by a foreign government. And now your government is being, and look what's going on, civil unrest, civil war. And the same shit's going to happen here. Because they're not doing things according to their own laws and things like that. They're being manipulated like a puppet. This nigga Esau Amalek is doing, the will of Amalek. Anyways, 25 members of the National Guard were killed in an Operation Duck. Posted on social media that Mexico must step up their effort on cartels and drugs. Nigga, you just went into Venezuela. You besieged Cuba. Iran, you said you just threatened them 10 to 15 days you were going to bomb them. And then you're telling another country that they need to go work on their cartel. And then he's talking about, I was watching reports on the drugs and all of this bullshit. Nigga, you put fentanyl into patients that go into your ambulances. I was watching this, I was talking to this lady about, her mother fell and she's old. And she called an ambulance. The ambulance came and picked her up. And they immediately put, I don't know how many milligrams of fentanyl inside of her mother, who's an old woman, because she fell. And she said the amount that they put in her was enough to overdose her. And I said, what are you going? You got the paperwork saying that it's more than what, they were supposed to give her? And she said, yeah, but, she survived, so I'm not worried about that. And I'm like, I would have sued the fuck out of them, man. But and that's to their own people. So imagine how many people ain't making it, man. They're giving synthetic drugs willingly. They're passing out syringes to their own people willingly. And they got a nerve to go tell a foreign country not to do something that they do willingly. It's hypocritical. Just like the Republican Party telling the Democrats, stop protecting these pedophiles. Nigga, you protecting pedophiles too. On a much higher level or more prestige or whatever. I don't know the words I'm looking for, but it's all hypocritical. The killing of El Mencho has highlighted the intense pressure exerted by Duck on the Mexican government, the key role of the U.S. in supporting the country's security operations, and the continued struggle. Claudia Sheinbaum, Mexico's president, will face in her efforts to appease her U.S. counterpart. Why are you trying to appease the U.S. counterpart? That's why they love setting up these women in your country. Because the devil can manipulate her a lot easier than you. That's why Maduro's sitting in New York, and now you got a female president over there in Venezuela, and now everything's good. Because she wants to be comfortable. That's not a good sign for Venezuela. Venezuela's out of here. Those people are going to be oppressed. It's downhill from there. Their president is just the sign of a decline of a system. They're going to rob them clear to death. They're going to take everything away from them. They're going to suffer more than when he was president. So I hope you enjoyed those parties he was went before he left. It says Osa Guerra, the head of the Jalisco New Generation Cartels, JNGC, has been indicted several times in the U.S. since 2017. But since the start of his second administration, Duck has ramped up the pressure, offering a reward of up to $15 million for information that might lead to a Segarev's capture in December of 2024. Then last year, the White House designated JNGC as a foreign terrorist organization. So it was all in his plans. But whoever ratted on him, you out of here. You out of here, man. You think this devil's going to protect you and change your identity and it's not going to be found? You out of your damn mind. Those days are over. With AI and all this stuff, you can't protect your identity anymore. All right. It says, meanwhile, Doug has spent months inciting that the Mexican government must do more to take on drug trafficking groups, including offering to send U.S. troops across the border. Something which Sheinbaum has repeatedly rebuffed. She didn't want that, but guess what? He might have to. He's been stacking troops there for a long time. He got a lot of people there. Adding pressure to Mexico is the upcoming World Cup Guadalajara. The GNGC's major stronghold is also scheduled to host several matches. That was also a factor that triggered the Mexican government's strategy to arrest the top leader of the Jalisco cartel and to show the World Cup organizers that the Mexican government has the capacity to confront these organizations and to control the guaranteed security in a city like Guadalajara, said Eduardo Guerrero, a former Mexican security official and expert on the country's cartels. That's how you know that the cartels are stronger than the government right there. All right, because you got to train people up to come up against them. So they're fully persuaded that, as much as, they get all the hype of being corrupt and, they done killed all these people and shit. There's gonna be way more deaths that this woman just did than all of that. Okay, because you creating a situation where people who you get people who are, how can I put it? You're going to need U.S. support because the people that you can't train somebody up to go against somebody like that. Because the way they're trained up and the way you're trained up are two different things. The people that they recruit, they're looking for poor people. They're converting people and then they're making them do shit that your government would never make you do. Because then you want to join the military. But the cartel, they make them do that shit. So by the time they're already ready to go, is what I'm trying to say here. They're trained killers, man. They've seen death. A lot of y'all don't get to see a lot of that. And they get paid more than you. So it's the clear better choice than joining what the hell you guys are joining. And that's why 25 of you got put to death. And the first thing they did was stop burning those cars. Probably a lot of civilians, and they told the civilians, stay in your house. You know, they told the civilians, listen, we going to war with them, and they going to war with the military. All right, they don't care about going to war with the military. That's some high level shit, man. You gotta be trained for that, man. I don't want to read all of it, but that's pretty much it. Meanwhile, Duck has spent months insisting the Mexican government must do more. Read all of that. It's going to take a lot of pressure of the Mexican government, said Arturo Sorokin, a former Mexican ambassador to Washington. It's going to be harder for Duck to continue having his cake and eating it too, which is providing glowing references to Sheinbaum while at the same time saying she's afraid to take on organized crime. Of course she is. Of course she is. She's going to heavily rely on them, and that's what's going to cause them to, it extends the border now. And they got drones, they got helicopters, they got tanks, they got all of that shit. And then you look at some of the people over here who are in the military, and it's like, these people are stupid, man. You over here protecting pedophiles, you think the Lord's with you? Come on, man. You out of your damn mind. So I'm just saying this could escalate. Mexico sends thousands of soldiers to stop violence after the death of drug lord. Military soldiers now. What's this? A member of Mexico's National Guard stands near the charred wreckage of a bus that appears to have set on fire by organized crime groups in Jalisco state on Sunday. They got better equipment than what he got on. And they're covering their face. This dude got his face all exposed. I'm looking at it all the way in America. So they're smarter than him. This is not a smart person, man. This dude right here. This is an idiot. And he just put his whole family at risk. In Mexico, those Mexicans, they're known to kill your whole family. And this dude's not even in the military. He's in the National Guard. Foolishness. Mexico has deployed thousands of soldiers to bolster security after a wave of violence erupted following the death of a powerful drug lord, the country's security minister has said. Defense Secretary Ricardo said an extra 2,500 soldiers had been sent to western Mexico on Monday, with the government saying about 9,500 troops have been deployed overall since Sunday. At least 20 states have been on arrest since the Misio Esegura, better known as El Mencho, died in custody on Sunday shortly after being captured by Mexican forces in Jalisco state. At least 25 members, I just read it. This is calm, this is government, there are armed forces, and there's a lot of coordination, Sheinbaum said. So, wars. Civil war, man. This is what it looks like when you start seeing buses on fire, cars on fire to try to block out the sky when drones and shit come. Then you know you this is serious. And they probably got the same tech as you, just as much as you got key coordinates, and they watching this and watching this. They watching you too. And just like over here, now you'd be surprised when shit kick off, what type of capability people have, and who do they know, and all of that bullshit. It's not gonna work out the way you think. In some towns, they block roads by throwing spikes and nails on the tarmac. In others, they commandeered buses and other vehicles, then torched them in the middle of the road. Shambab said that the roadblocks had been cleared by Monday morning. However, dozens of banks and local businesses have been damaged after they were set alight by cartel members. Yeah, your businesses, everything gets put up in smoke. Video shared on social media and authenticated by BBC Verify showed tourists watching from a pool as a military helicopter flies low over their hotel and smoke rising from buildings in Jalisco State City of Puerto Vallarta. Look at Edomites sitting in their high towers. Disgusting. Disgusting. In many towns, streets were deserted on Sunday. Damn, he had a $15 million bill, man. Cash bounty over his head. I wonder if people ever get paid this money. This is probably a scam. He give you $15,000, and then because last time Maduro, he had like 50. When I read a report, Duck said, that 50,000. He was like, I guess we say $50 million, even though someone probably did. Someone definitely worked with him. He definitely got intelligence from somebody. But then he was boasting about how he saved $50 million, so I don't think he paid anybody for Maduro. Just like he ain't gonna pay anybody for this $15 million. This is all bullshit. This nigga's the devil. And then you sell your own people out. All these people die. He got everything works in his favor. Because you took a little cut. All right, we'll give you half of that now, and then they'll put you to death. El Mencho. News: U.S. military group helped Mexico track El Mencho cartel boss. So they meddling other people's issues. Scriptures tell you not to meddle much in many matters. Okay, he's in everybody's business. Cuba, Venezuela, Ukraine, Mexico, Colombia, Taiwan, South Korea. He sent boots on the ground in Nigeria. And they also talking about putting boots on the ground in Mexico. Anyways. Damn, I didn't mean to press this. Anyway, Zelenskyy tells BBC Putin has started World War III and must be stopped. Okay. You can't stop what the Lord wants to happen. He told you in Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, all these things were going to come to pass. Ukraine's President Zelenskyy continues to send out a firm message of defiance. When we met this weekend in the government headquarters in Kiev, he said that far from losing, Ukraine would end the war victorious. He was firmly against paying the price for a ceasefire deal demanded by President Putin, which is withdrawing from strategic ground that Russia has failed to capture despite sacrificing tens of thousands of soldiers. This nigga sounds stupid as hell. He sacrificed tens of thousands of soldiers, but yet this is from the Times. It says Ukraine needs 250,000 more troops to win war with Russia. So who's really sacrificing the soldiers here? If you need 250,000 troops. I believe that Putin has already started it. The question is how much territory he will be able to seize and how to stop him. Russia wants to impose on the world a different way of life and change the lives of people who have chosen for themselves. So, Zelenskyy saying World War III already started. Good to know. Lord Mandelson arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. So, nigga got Lord with a capital L. This nigga calling this nigga Lord. You a damn servant. According to Genesis, nigga ain't no Lord. Genesis 25, 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So Esau is the younger. I mean, he's the elder, so he gonna serve the younger. So that makes him a servant. All right, Esau's a damn servant, but you see, he's exalted. He's saying he's Lord Mandelson, or whatever the hell his name is. It's not true, man. I mean, he is a Lord in this world, but when it's all said and done, he's gonna be a servant. That's what his purpose is, or his not his purpose, but that's what he was created to be. That's what prophecy says. Genesis 27 and verse 29. Let people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. So this is Jacob's blessing, be Lord over thy brethren. So that's the Lord over Esau. Let's look at this word Lord in Genesis 27 and 29. Now it's lowercase l. Gebir.
Strong's Age 1376. Gevir.
Gevir, ruler. Okay, a master. Lord. So in this world, he is, but look at him. He's getting, look at your masters. Misconduct in public office. They're not in, that's not even Prince Andrew, but at least they're, doing something. They're, arresting people, and they're not doing that over here. He tried to step away from his position that he had, and that's not enough. Even so-called Prince, I think Manbattan or whatever the hell his name is now, they took away his titles, and now they're trying to persecute him and take away his succession from being king, which requires other countries like Canada and these other countries, I can't name them all, to vote on removing him from having the ability to be a king, which is a whole damn process. And it looks like they're gonna go through that. So I'm interested in watching that. Lord Mandelson Servant Mandelson has been arrested in suspicion of misconduct in public office. The Metropolitan Police said a 72-year-old man was arrested at an address in Camden, North London on Monday and taken to a police station for interview. Good. The arrest follows search warrants at 2 addresses in the Wiltshire and Camden. A police statement added the force launched an investigation earlier this month over allegations that while he was serving as a government minister, Servant Mandelson had passed on market-sensitive government information to the late convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Look at this piece of shit. Look at this fucking asshole. Servant Mandelson has not publicly commented in recent weeks on Epstein files, but the BBC understands his position is he has not acted in any way criminally and that he was not motivated by financial gain. Sure he wasn't. He's just passing on government information to a pedophile. And you think this dude was doing? Using it to give to Israel, possibly. So all of you people are compromised, man. That's what he did with America. And this is why these other nations ain't really fucking with you. That's why they're gonna burn you with fire. You compromise their sovereignty. This government information that you gave over to Epstein, he gave it over to Israel. I'm just speculating, but I'm not gonna read it all because I got too many articles. U.S. partially evacuates Beirut embassy amid rising Iran tensions. So this clearly he's evacuating people because he's gonna strike somewhere. But once you evacuate these people, supposedly, how you gonna bring them back? You saw what they did to Israel. That small hat wasn't able to. Those missiles can get around that small hat, which is going into his defense system. How you gonna build a defense system like the hat that's on your head? It's foolishness. The U.S. government has ordered all non-essential staff to leave its embassy in the Lebanese capital of Beirut after a security review, a senior State Department official has told the BBC. So it sounds like you're getting ready to strike, which can be at any moment. UK should send non-combat troops to Ukraine now, former Prime Minister Johnson tells BBC. So now the UK he's not the Prime Minister. Why should they send these troops over to Ukraine? And just like Zelenskyy said, they need 250,000 troops. And now Boris Johnson, he's advocating for it. Former Prime Minister Boris Johnson says that the UK and its allies should deploy non-combat troops to Ukraine right now to flip a switch in Russian President Vladimir Putin's head. Putin's gonna dash your people to pieces. He don't give a fuck how many people you put there. Speaking exclusively to Sunday with Laura alongside the former head of military, Radican, Johnson said troops should be sent to peaceful regions in non-fighting roles. Yeah, right. He's full of shit. But let me read a little bit about this. Ukraine is outmatched by Russian forces and requires significantly more infantry and weapons if it hopes to win the war, according to a military intelligence and an independent battlefield monitor. So you need 250,000 more troops. That's a lot of damn troops, man. So clearly you getting put to death at a higher rate. And I think he said something around 30,000 people are dying every month. So 250, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240. So you got about 8 months and some change. 9 months, we'll say. 9 months, which is February. That brings us into September, October, November. So you should win the war by November if they send 250,000. I doubt that. Trump considers targeted strike against Iran followed by a larger attack. So that's what he's calling it. Yeah, I'm going to do one attack followed by a larger attack. That's what he's saying. The top negotiators plan to meet in Geneva on Thursday for last-ditch talks, debating a new proposal that could create an off-ramp as two carrier groups massed within striking distance of Iran. We already know he said 10 to 15 days that he was going to bomb this place. EU freezes U.S. trade deal approval amid Trump's tariff threats. Yeah, so he got a new tariff threat. Okay, he said 10% global. 10% global. He said 10%. Now he add that 10% to 15%. He just lost, and the Supreme Court told him that these tariffs were illegal. Now this is what he's saying according to political.com. Duck hikes temporary global tariff rate to 15%. He just said 10% like yesterday. maximizing authority in wake of Supreme Court blow. So he don't give a fuck about what the Supreme Court said. Now he doubled down on it. President Donald Duck announced on Saturday he's planning to hike the new global tariff rate to 15% one day after the Supreme Court struck down his signature tariff policy. So who do you think's paying for these tariffs? You are. So what does that mean? Inflation. What does that say about the food that's put in your mouth? It's getting harder to eat. What did the Lord say he's going to do? Break your staff of bread. What's going to happen when your staff is broken? You're going to die of a famine. Based on thorough, detailed, and complete review of the ridiculous, poorly written, and extraordinarily anti-American decision on tariffs issues yesterday, they calling his tariffs anti-American. Now he just put even more tariffs on you. After many months of contemplation by the U.S. Supreme Court, please let this statement serve to represent that I, as president of the United Babylon of America, or the United States of Babylon, will be effective immediately, raising the 10% worldwide tariff on countries to the fully allowed and legally tested 15% level, Duck wrote on Truth Social. So your Supreme Court's full of shit, okay? How you gonna go to the Supreme Court? They strike down your tariffs, and then you say, all right, well, I'm not gonna put 10%, now I'm gonna put 15%. What kind of ruling is this? What kind of clown show are we watching? President Duck's executive order on criminalizing unhoused people explained. I didn't even want to get into that today, or that. But pretty much good. I got through all. There's just too many. But that's what's going on, man. And I didn't want to make this too long. But a lot of this is showing you that this war is kicking off. There's, Revelation 11 and 14. You got famines kicking off. Okay, Ezekiel the 5th chapter, the last two verses. You got civil unrest at your border that can spill into your country, which could lead to more civil unrest in America. So you have fun with that. I'm gonna end it here. Lord's will, this was edifying.